see this comment from FBI. Don't worry, guys. Those who like this video will be put on our watch list.
It's a registered sex offenders. Definitely.
They catch you for tower, you die.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of the Self-Taught Novice with myself, Dato Ben, Max Odankwa, and Silas Bimpole. Hello everyone, how are we doing? Hey, why are you stressing me out like that?
Was I expected Maxwell to go first before I go? Anyways, I'm doing very well. I'm just tired, but I'm okay.
Great. And we are, as usual, recording via Zoom. Initially, our excuse was the fact that we are observing COVID-19 protocols. But now, the new excuse is that Silas is in Accra. So the best way to record is
you can't put this on me.
Someone has to get the blame. It's definitely not going to be us. So anyway, so we are recording via Zoom, and I think we are going to continue the conversation we had, and I think Maxwell.
But before we continue, I'm sure most of you who paid attention.
Hey, it looks like Maxwell, your network is giving us attitude.
Why it's horrible.
No, you keep freezing the audio.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is it better now?
It's okay. You talk, but then I'm sure as time goes on, it will freeze. But then don't worry. Let's wing it. Fingers crossed.
That's not encouraging at all. Okay. Anyway, I said, Silas, did you notice that the recent release, when you played it straight from the Data Media website and not YouTube, was an entirely different audio? Did you notice?
Yes, sort of. Not exactly, because I listened to the one on YouTube, so not exactly come back to the website.
Do you know whose fault that was? This guy.
It was Maxwell's. No, it was Maxwell's fault. The reason being that.
How?
Let me explain to you what happened. So, I host and syndicate every episode myself. So, we've had a series of tests over like the break. So I think we did about 4 tests in total. So the final test, I uploaded it onto AWS because it was a full episode test. So it was like 1 hour, and I couldn't send in snippets or anything or no file through Google Drive. So I sent it to Maxwell through AWS, shared the link with him so that he could have a look at it. So what that meant was that in the season, every season has its own folder in my AWS bin. So in the season 3 folder, that test was the first. And when I uploaded the new episode, so I have a way of saving all the episodes so that at least they'll appear in chronological order. So that for future reference, let me finish. For future references, I'll be able to see them. So the season 3 episode 2, season 3 episode 1, not knowing that when I was changing the name to how I wanted it, I rather changed the old one to the new name and deleted the new one I uploaded.
So
you get it?
Where do I come?
So that means the season 3 episode 1 was the old file, not the new file. So I assumed that I've done the correct thing. So after I syndicated it, I realized that so Maxwell showed me that the audios for all the podcast platforms as compared to the audio from YouTube were different. Then I realized that that was the issue. So it was Maxwell's fault because I was trying to show him the full episode. So it's not my fault. It's Maxwell's fault. Because if I hadn't decided to show him the episode, all this wouldn't have happened. Anyway, I forgive you.
Okay. Emotional blackmail. Okay, anyway. So the big stories for the week. Picking up off where we left with the previous. Okay, you guys haven't listened to that episode by now, but yes, you will listen to it. Episode 2, season 3. We spoke with Silas and Date about the Epic Games ban or the back and forth with Apple.
Yeah.
And it seems that this whole issue still is unfolding, and there's a new party that has lent its voice to it, and that's WordPress, I'm hearing, right?
Yes. WordPress. Asemo.
What's that brouhaha all about? Let's hear it.
So apparently, if you buy, actually WordPress is the WordPress platform is free, but then some people buy hosting from WordPress. So that means so we use WordPress for free by downloading WordPress onto our server. So some people buy WordPress servers and host their websites on it. So if you do that transaction through an Apple device, Apple was demanding a cut.
Yeah, 30%.
Apple is demanding a cut, yes, because you've done it through Apple, and they don't understand why Apple should take that much. So at least they wanted a renegotiation, but the Apple said no. So that means they stopped the ability for you to sign up, not necessarily sign in, but sign up or make purchases through the Apple platform, and that's what Silas's and booze.
WordPress also offered to block the only place where like the iOS users could access features. So because of that disagreement with Apple, iOS users who are dependent on WordPress won't be able to like access the platform just because.
So it was a tit for tat thing going on there.
Yeah, I mean basically we are not allowing. So the basic mantra is that we are offering a free service. So we are basically not making money from whatever we are doing. So why are you charging us for offering a free service? I don't know if that makes sense.
That's a very logical.
Because what WordPress does, WordPress is a non-for-profit. So their main aim is to make sure that they get the maximum number of people using their platform. And most people are not tech savvy, so they've decided that they're going to give part of their server space to people who want to host. So that means those are not too tech savvy are the ones who, after registering a WordPress, they go and create a server space within WordPress and use it. So in actual sense, they are not doing it necessarily to make a profit, but they are doing it to help their platform grow. And they don't understand why Akwesi Minta 2 trillion wants to
2 trillion
wants to take all that money. And for me, I actually agree with them. I agree so much with them. And I think Apple, let's not waste too much time on those people because they stress me out.
Still talking about Apple's monopoly or whatever you choose to call it. There's an article I came across from 21st August in The Verge. It says Apple says Epic is putting the entire App Store model at risk. If you could pull that up, yeah. And let me read just a couple of.
How is that sure?
Okay, let me just read. Apple has responded to Epic Games' antitrust lawsuit over its iOS App Store policies. The filing asks the court not to temporarily reverse an App Store ban while the suit is ongoing, and it accuses Epic of disingenuously creating an emergency by accepting direct payment through Fortnite in violation to Apple's rules. So yeah, developers who work to deceive Apple, as Epic has done, are terminated. So Apple really taking a very firm stance on this, and it looks like the battle is nowhere near over. So you should expect even others to join in the party. But I'm sure Epic has done something like triggering a storm that a lot of app developers have thought of. Because let's be honest, this monopoly is something that not everyone is really in agreement to. You get it?
Yeah, I think that's true. It's to make Apple really think through their attempts. But then I don't understand though. Apple is now moving a lot towards what's the name? Services.
Yeah.
Yes. So wouldn't this be a
What's the
good?
percentage of Google? Do they take 30% as well?
I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's just around the same figure. Probably less.
Why is everyone complaining to Apple then? Looks like Google has dodged much of the.
So what I'm saying is that right now that they are moving towards services, that means for their services they are going to get 100%, and they are going to eat into the market of these apps directly. So why don't they necessarily renegotiate their percentages and build more on their services so that people will stop using these third-party apps? So
Yeah.
Google takes 30%. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But then again, too, I mean, like, okay, people haven't exactly listened to the last episode, but then I made an argument that due to
By now that
privacy
they've listened to it.
issues, okay, due to privacy, so due to privacy issues, obviously, it makes sense that Apple would want to like create just one platform that they manage to handle transactions. But then Epic also makes the argument that if Apple gives them the options to provide consumers different payment options on their platform, consumers could actually pay less for their digital products. So in terms of like making sure, so if Fortnite is like give or take, let's say $20, if Apple allows Epic Games to use a different payment platform, you could pay as well as let's say either $5 or $2 for Fortnite. And in a certain sense, it makes sense that everyone would want to pay less for a product, but you can't trade cheap products, or should I say, you can't trade your privacy for paying less. I don't know if you get me. Like, why would you want to pay less for a product that assures you that like you have your privacy and other things assured? So it's a bit dicey. I mean, both parties are right in my opinion. So like Apple makes a legitimate argument in the sense that you want to protect your users and all that.
But 30%,
right now,
30%
right now,
of
right now, if there's a data breach for that comes as a result of these payment platforms, who are we going to blame? We're basically going to blame Apple. Yeah.
So they are taking the liability.
Yo, guys, take a look at this story, which is directly related to this whole drama with Epic and Apple. This is on the Business Insider page, published on the 19th of August, and it goes like this. iPhones with Fortnite installed are listed for as much as $10,000 on the resale market after Apple pulls down the game from the App Store. Last week, the wildly popular game Fortnite got an update on Apple and Android devices that allowed players to bypass the company's digital payment systems. Payments went directly to Fortnite studio Epic Games instead of Apple and Google. In response, Apple and Google... Okay, this is the backstory. Okay. If you already had Fortnite on your iPhone, Apple has no way of removing it. And some iPhone owners with Fortnite have taken to eBay with their phones and listing them for as high as $10,000. And that's hot cake, big business. Charlie, every time the vultures are waiting.
Everyone, I mean, Fortnite is a very popular game.
Yeah, I haven't played it before though.
But $10,000, like, I don't understand the value that's being attached to it.
To shock you what people will pay.
People
will pay.
It comes back to my point I was saying in the last episode that when it comes to pricing of goods, it's more about consumer perception and how much they feel is worth the amount. Because see the new Mac Pro, the greater design.
Yeah,
that thing is so overpriced, but the people are buying it.
$999. I mean, it makes sense for like your design perspective or like aesthetics. Okay.
Aesthetics, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, why would you want to buy like another different stand? That sort of, I don't know, it doesn't really capture the design perspective that Apple is going for in terms of the Mac design. So,
so Apple, and there are 2.2 million iOS apps. So that means, I want to know the number of people who use the App Store.
Apple devices or Apple Store.
The App Store, yeah. Because if every app is taking like if let's say 80% of the apps do in-app purchases, and every app is taking like $5, they are going to make like 10.2. That's per the apps. So they are going to make not less than $10.2 million per app per every purchase. So if about 1 million people purchase things, that means just multiply that 10 million by, let's say, 1 million, give or take. They are making a lot of money. It's all part of the 2 trillion. And I don't understand what they are.
I think everyone is bashing Apple too much in terms of in the sense that everyone thinks they are making too much money. But I mean,
but they are. What do you think that 2 trillion valuation comes from?
Yeah, I get it. I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but I think about it this way.
Apple, but that hair, you really fits you.
Apple literally invented the mobile app store market. Like it was non-existent.
Yeah, it was non-existent. That's true.
It was all thanks to Steve Jobs. He created this market for people. So, like in the early 90s, before you get your game or movie or whatever application you want, you have to go to a store. Let's see, now part of the world where I live right now. I live in Kaswa. Like, I don't even live. I live further in Kaswa. Mm-hmm. I want to use, let's say, Microsoft Word. I'll then have to walk or pick a car, go to Accra Central to go and get a CD, and come back home and then put it into a machine. You realize that it's inconvenience for the user and it's also inconvenience for the store seller, the product seller, because you have to manage inventory, you have to check stocks and all that. And Apple has basically made everything simple and say, build an app and put it on our store. Because if your application is in the app store, you don't have to manage your server.
It's in the cloud.
Load and all that. Just put your app there. And I mean, and we are saying that for all that you do, if you make any money on our platform, we want to charge 30%. I mean, it's fair for the tax.
In fact, let's stop giving a $2 trillion company a lot of street credit and advertising.
Okay. Next story. Allow me to talk about during the week. I'm sure you guys, any of you, I know most of you are active on Twitter. Did you see the hashtag Netflix pedophilia?
Yes.
The story.
The botched marketing campaign.
Yeah. The Cuties movie that they said is sexualizing girls. Can you imagine 11-year-old girls are starring in the movie?
The problem,
but the movie is rated 16.
The problem was the marketing. I'm yet to watch the movie.
It is not the marketing.
No, I'm yet to watch
the contents of the movie.
No. No one has watched the movie. It's just a trailer. So from the
go and play the trailer. We want to see the trailer right now.
All right.
Play and let's judge for ourselves because it's no copyright. Let's play. Charlie Silas, the things you see, but young girls, Charlie.
Yeah,
wrong.
I watched this though, but I mean, for what I know about trailers are just meant to get you excited.
What's the name?
What
Cuties, Netflix.
Cuties.
So basically, the visual effects and all those things that are going.
So what do you want to be excited by? From
all right, so.
Let me always to excite you how.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
The soundtrack is dope, to be honest.
Il se passe quoi là? Vous faisiez quoi la gare? On va danser au concours. Putain, ça avec vous. Quoi?
The soundtrack is nice.
Oh mais les gens t'ont grave kiffé, tu vois tous les likes qu'on a eu.
Vous savez où passe l'esprit du mal? Ce sont ces femmes dénudées pour le mariage de ton père.
Regarde comment elle te va. Tu es une femme maintenant.
T'étais où là? T'as foutu quoi? J'étais en retard. En retard? Je suis désolée. Me dis pas... Non, tu l'as volé? Oh la dégueulasse, j'y comprends pas!
À quoi tu joues là, ami? Qui es-tu, ami?
Un bon assume.
Je vais couler l'eau, ma chérie.
Typical African mother.
You know right. All right, so that's basically it.
But honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong.
See this comment from FBI. So someone has named their YouTube account FBI. Don't worry, guys. Those who like this video will be put on our watch list.
It's a registered sex offenders. Definitely.
But they catch you for tower, you die. But honestly, I'm just reading this and then I
How many people
realized
unlike
that
the video? How many people
this is-
unlike them?
More
Dislike
people
the
actually dislike the video. So the video has 718,000 dislikes and 22,000 likes. But for me, the trailer is actually disrespectful to religion and disrespectful to culture, and also encourages pedophilia by looking at young females from a sexual POV or a sexual light. That I understand. But then from
Your Rasta man,
but for
Silas for the down AC.
yeah, but
no, but I'm coming. But from what the
get that,
Netflix
but-
executives are saying, they say it was a botched marketing whatever. So I'm waiting for the thing to come.
yeah,
Then I can
yeah,
so that I'll be
you
more
should
objective
actually
about it.
watch it. Now, the reason why I'm making that argument is because this very film has actually won an award in the French movie industry.
But then it's the Western world. So even if a dog,
Yeah, so,
even if you put a camera on the
exactly, so-
dog and this thing is the angles are nice,
Yeah.
it's telling the story, they'll give it an award.
But then
Let
do
me
you
read
understand that?
an excerpt from the New York Times article, and this should put everything in perspective, by Alex Marshall. He says conspiracy theorists and concerned parents complain about the image associated with Cuties, a French film that won a Sundance Award that examines how children are examined to be sexualized. London, Netflix has changed the promotional image of Cuties, an award-winning French film, after it was accused of sexualizing girls. We are deeply sorry for the inappropriate artwork we used for Cuties, a spokesperson for Netflix says. It was not okay, nor was it of this French film, which has won an award at Sundance. We've now updated the pictures and description. Clearly, no remorse here. They are not
because
remorseful.
honestly, if it was that good to win an award in the French movie industry, it means people in France. That's a biased opinion, because obviously, if you win an award within a certain boundary, it means that those people within that boundary or this region actually accept it.
You know the trashy movies that have won awards, Silas. You know the
Yeah, I
trashy
mean,
movies.
La La Land kind of has won an award. What's the day?
I mean, that is there, but then they also make the argument that what was it? Watching this show has actually, I mean, like also putting up an article by the New York Times. I mean, if you read, if you read further, it tells you that what was it has been praised for questioning how society and social media pressure young children into acting in sexually explicit ways.
So it's a botched marketing campaign. Anyways,
Yeah, I feel like if we watch it, it might change.
yeah, it might change our perspective.
I'm not going
so.
to watch it. I'm not.
I mean,
I'm
I
not
would-
Bill
I would
Clinton
definitely
or
watch
Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not watching it.
How they Bill Clinton? No, I'm coming to Maxwell. This is why they defend yourself.
Ghislaine Maxwell will bring the files. We'll
No.
see Bill Clinton. You saw the image with him on the jet recently. It came out this week. You saw it.
Yes.
The guy is getting implicated. Charlie, why shit?
Anyway, so yeah, moving on. But then, do you know we have electric vehicles in Ghana?
Kumasi Hive
Kumasi Hive pioneered it.
or Kantanka.
Both. So Kumasi Hive pioneered it, and Kantanka is moving quickly.
Kantanka is using 35 watts
Kumasi
brake
Hive,
charger
are we
to
saying
charge
based
his.
on-
The Kantanka one, you can plug it to your wall.
Chairman, I say my
I was
power
shocked.
brake. My power brake. This one. Chairman, they take fire the car. Oh, fast charging, bro.
I honestly, I don't know. I'm not one to judge based on what I've seen, but probably they should release a paper on the schematics of the power consumption of the vehicle. That's what I'm probably.
Charlie, call Robert, make we laugh.
So
Kantanka small. Call
Robert,
Robert.
let me see if I can get Robert to come online.
Oh yeah, I saw Robert's
article.
thread on
Charlie, some breakdown view, bro.
yeah. I mean, and is his thread really made sense. The fact that, based on the fact that, like from an engineering perspective, that's if you are not within the Kantanka engineering team, there are obviously some assumptions you make about the
Big man.
design and engineering of an electric car.
Hello.
Mute yourself.
Yeah, how you doing?
If you're actually there,
Are you
probably
busy or you're
understand
free?
why they picked this and how their EV car works. So,
So we're recording a podcast episode, and the
How do we
boys,
solve the problem of charging
boys,
stations? We don't have
want to-
charging stations. Talk
want
about
to
more
look
super
at,
charging
just come
stations.
look at the
The
Kantanka.
one he's plugged it into his wall.
yeah, it is well. So basically,
The
problem
boys want to come, so we talk about the Kantanka EV thing.
Ah,
Just
I don't
briefly.
know. I don't know. Have they come up with any power consumption rates for the EVs?
Oh,
you
like
mean
right now, just
on a global scale?
No,
I haven't
the
heard.
ones
Ghana.
And basically, we are talking about
Oh,
when
no.
the conversation started. with the fact
That's to
that,
assume if
we have electric vehicles
it
in
will
Ghana.
get approval
And
of
then
any sort.
Silas mentioned
But
that.
anyway, I think we should applaud the attempt more than
he saw an article from you
how well he
concerning
got it.
some
Because
of
if
the
you are
things,
careful
and he
to
had some
critique
questions.
and use the standard of
Yeah, he had
Tesla
some questions,
and
and
let's
apparently
say
most
the
of the
big
questions he
EV
had,
companies,
you mentioned
we
that if we're
might
not on this,
be not
if we're
so
not on the
grateful at their
Kantanka team,
efforts.
we will be able
Because
to
Charlie,
answer them.
I mean, what
But then he
tools
just
does he have?
wanted to have you on it, so that
I think almost all the parts are assembled.
yeah.
almost all the parts are.
All right, sure. All right.
But then again, since there's this thing with
All right, guys. So, hello, guys. Yeah, I have Robert here. Yeah, hello, Robert.
Hello.
Yes. Can you guys hear Robert?
Yeah.
Yes. So Silas. So what you were saying concerning the EV?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I was saying that I read Robert's there. It was very insightful as to like the engineering that goes behind like designing EVs. But I was of the opinion that if we actually got to know what the Kantanka engineering team came up with or their thought process behind the engineering for the EV,
And how feasible it is.
Yeah, it will make us better understand how their system works instead of like sitting isolated and then passing comments as to like how they came up with the EV.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Robert, did you get? Yeah.
The voice was quite distant, so if you could even just summarize what he said or repeat what he said out.
Okay, well let them chase. So Silas, come again, please.
Yeah, so but for now, can I say?
Yeah.
So basically, I was saying that we're critiquing the design behind the Kantanka EV, and I'm saying that some of the comments we pass are mostly like ignorant or probably not well informed. Since given that like with basic engineering knowledge, we have a fair understanding of how an EV should be designed. But as far as we know, we are not part of the Kantanka engineering team. So like some assumptions cannot be stated as fact until they probably come out and then explain to us like based on this schematics, this is why we chose this design over this design. Like for instance, in software engineering, like Uber and Facebook and Google, they have these blogs where like they post how like they design systems. So it makes you better understand how they came by this product. So I feel like if Kantanka does see, then we can critique the EV design.
Yeah. So Silas, so basically, how did you come about those deductions from the article?
As in how I made up the assumptions.
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, the assumptions were not just made by me just guessing up some figures, right? So for example, let's take an assumption like the battery. Okay. Now, generally, when you are making assumptions for like things like batteries, I mean, for those ones, you don't really make any deep assumptions. Like for every battery, the chemistry type has certain specifications, right? And because the battery, the specifications may vary slightly across many different batteries, there's this average that they draw across. So that was like the logic behind the assumption that I did, right? So, for example, I made an assumption that the motor efficiency was 95%, right? And typically, motor efficiency is around 95%, especially for brushless DC motors. but for the 3-phase 4-pole inductor motors, they are around 90%, right?
Yeah.
And so I just made a conservative estimate of 95% to put it there, right? Just to put things in perspective.
So, but do you think,
efficiencies-
understand that, but do you think in general there's a future for it locally?
Okay. Yes, there is, but not with the kind of battery chemistry that they're using. Yeah.
And then
Robert,
do they?
Robert, are you there?
Hello, yeah.
Hello. Yeah, Robert. I saw in a video, Kantanka, he connected his vehicle to a 35-watt travel charger, and I want to know whether Charlie, that vehicle.
Max, I hope I said.
There's some travel charger. I see some Samsung travel charger, bro. Do you think it's? I mean, given our voltages and whatnot, I mean, there's a future for that kind of charging, because I know Tesla chargers are different at their supercharger station.
Yeah.
So first of all, with the Kantanka charger, I'll tell you something, because you aren't going to get much. It's going to take you eternity to charge the car if you are going to use that kind of charging. Yeah, because I mean, if you want to charge the car, you need a certain amount of the higher the current that you get from the plug or from the outlet, the faster your battery charges, right? But you saw that he was plugging it as a plug that was also plugged to a dispenser.
Wall socket, Ankasa, wall socket.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically a wall socket, right? Yeah, and those usually are clamped, depend on the fuse that is in the plug, clamped at around 13 amps. Maybe 25 amps. That's from the main circuit, the chip from the main circuit. And 25 amps isn't going to do much.
Yeah.
It's probably going to take about
4 weeks
hours to charge one battery among the many batteries that will be in the car. So.
Yeah. All right, Robert, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, man.
Thanks.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, bye-bye.
Robert made like some very well-defined scientific assumptions, and based on paper, like it definitely makes sense. Like it's not possible. So that's why. But I'm of the opinion that assumptions are evil. I mean, unless you are doing physics, on paper, assumptions are good. By reality, I feel like assumptions are evil, because if like Obin is doing something, and based on the assumptions within my context of knowledge, those things are not possible. I shouldn't critique Obin and say that what you are doing is not possible, because within my boundary of knowledge, such things don't exist. So it makes sense that for me to understand what Obin is, I have to approach Obin and say, Obin, you are doing this. How is that you are doing this, and at what scale does this work? Before then, I can then say, or I can then conclude whether my assumptions were true or false. So I feel like
basically,
but then
on Kantanka, right?
No, but then from the kind of batteries the company is using, you realize that it's regular, because I remember I've seen I saw the Kumasi Hive
batteries they are using.
No, they showed it in the video. Car battery.
Okay, I think I didn't catch that part.
Car battery. So looking
not
at
lithium ion. it's not like Tesla standard lithium ion.
No, I think they are acid lead batteries. Yeah.
Ready.
Oh no. But honestly, like Max, you already said that we shouldn't hold them to.
No, but Silas, the reason why I'm particularly concerned about it is they are not early adopters of this technology. This technology exists, so people have seen it work and work well in other countries.
They are early assemblers.
Is that even a category? Okay, sure. So they are early assemblers, so to speak. So we've seen the technology work. So when we are adopting,
am I laughing?
Yeah, so when we're adopting, I think that we must be careful to still hold them to the higher standard that is possible as of the moment, you understand? Because, I mean, EV is probably the future. So And we know people have done it even at the basic level. Aside Tesla, there are other forms of EVs that are working. Smaller, miniature, or standard budget cars, they exist. So when you're doing this shoddy thing, and we've seen better thanks to the internet.
It's not shoddy.
Some of us, we have to.
Hey, I said they are early assemblers. Please cut them the slack. They've now started assembling.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, fine.
I mean, this is the first iteration. Like,
Exactly.
I'm sure I am still in the process of figuring it out. So we should definitely cut them some slack.
The reason I brought this topic up was looking at our country and electric vehicles. Do you think it's going to be the way forward? And do you think we really have enough room, respect to grid capacity to accommodate more?
Your government is thinking about drilling more oil. You're saying EV. Okay.
I feel like before we talk about EV, doomsday should not be a thing. First things first.
Mm-hmm.
After that, then we can talk about EV.
But thanks to former for Nana and Digital Baumia, we don't have doomsday.
Yeah.
Or you have doomsday.
Before this call, didn't I tell you that my lights were down?
No, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily doomsday. It was just a flat. It was just like a then it went and came back.
What's the definition of doomsday?
the one that Muhammad's time. So exactly.
Nanado is juggling the two, and he's using PR to cover everything. Charlie,
but I feel like we don't tend to appreciate their efforts. I mean, they've done well. Do you remember? Was it 2007 or 2008 during Kufuor's time? Like the country literally spent a year without lights.
All around electricity.
No,
yeah,
I'm sure.
But it seems that everyone has focused.
But they gave you a timetable.
No, but Ghanaians are we have this is short-term memory though. But then for me, I feel now the government is now appreciating the fact that whatever happens, thanks to modernization and quote and unquote sort of like gentrification of our society, a lot of people are investing in more appliances that will make their life better and easier. Like someone doesn't have time to toast bread on a stove, the person just go and buy a toaster. Quickly, then the person goes to the office. The person now has a TV in the room, a TV in the hall for convenience, so that when they're on their bed, they can watch Netflix when they're in the hall, and they have one laptop, they have a desktop that they rotate through, they have two phones that they have to charge and all. So as modernization increases, the amount of electricity per and demand per individual also increases. So I feel the government is now looking at the fact that now we have to increase, whatever happens, we have to increase the supply, because whatever happens, the demand is just going to increase from time to time. And the more we keep denying it, trying to talk down people from buying stuff, we just have to increase it, but then find other ways of taxing them or increasing the cost of getting these utilities. So I feel maybe that's the direction the government is moving towards.
Okay, but I have a question though. Like I feel like the supply problem is sort of solved, because right now we have more dams than we had like 10 years back. So I feel like the amount of power these energy centers.
Why is no one talking about the charging stations, the mileage? How about that? No one is talking about
charging stations. Did you see wall socket?
So
unplug your fridge and put it there.
Why? Do you have more wall sockets than the US? We have charges.
But they put that out, the mileage and like.
No, they haven't put any more detail. But I'm looking from the
He's having in his compound.
Because for me, it's like a normal EV takes more than the stipulated step down voltage and current. So
way more.
Way more. So that means it makes sense it makes sense to have an independent charging station. Either is within your household, connected directly to the grid, so that it has a separate
like Tesla's power.
Yeah. Exactly. Or you have independent charging stations that are placed at certain places, because you can't interface a home with a fast charger. You blow your equipment up because even the current may be higher, but then when you are charging your car, it will be drawing a lot of that current. So that means it will affect your individual devices.
Yeah.
If they have to.
We live in a current where we live in a country where at times you experience low current, like the light bulb flickers and all that.
If you look at these things,
imagine if you are charging your car, you want to move out like the next morning.
But then I believe Kantanka's current solution is the best for Ghana. Every day to take like 10 hours to charge a car, but then it's
when you say 10 hours,
yeah.
I
say 4 weeks, bro.
No, but it's the best because it looks like they've thought about our current Ghanaian consumption. That's why you can connect it to your wall. That means they've thought through. Yeah.
That is no innovation. That is lack of resources playing out before your very eyes. Do you think if he had that option or he'd engineered like a power cable or something? I mean, he's not gotten there yet. I'm sure to get to a point he'll step up from there. Anyway.
Yeah. But can we compare? Oh, sorry. I was about to ask if we could compare what Kumasi Hive have done to like what Kantanka.
So Kumasi Hive, in actual sense, so Kumasi Hive started with mopeds and then bicycle and motorbikes. So electric.
That's solar taxi.
Yeah, solar taxis. Solar taxis are basically electric vehicles, but then instead of charging the vehicles with the grid, they are basically charging them with solar stations. That's the only difference.
What's the horsepower on the solar taxi?
Pacho minimo. I think we did a video on this some time back.
It's like a Boboya speed.
It's actually like a Boboya.
Wants to jump at the chance of self-promotion. That's why it's time to pull up a Dati media video. Silence, watch.
Oh no. I'm just looking at
I mean, we both shared the video.
Exactly.
Hey, so I'm in this. Okay, fine.
Now I'm just going to their website to see that. So Solar Taxi has moved on to vehicles. Now they have something they call solar cars. I don't know why they call it solar taxis because in actual sense they are basically EVs that are powered, that are charged.
Is it founded by a Ghanaian?
George Appiah is the CEO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason why they call it solar taxis is because they have an app that you could use to order for like. It will also serve as a ride-hailing service. So that's what the taxi.
It's operational.
Yeah, it has been operational for some time.
They are working.
Yeah, so if you want to buy it, it costs 120,000 cedis, and if you want to rent it, it costs 900 cedis. So these are the specifications. Let me see the spec. Let me download the spec list. Add the link in Jumana.
Wait, say that price again. 100 and what?
120,000 Ghana cedis. 120,000 Ghana cedis.
Wait, but this design looks dope. They are like an actual picture of it.
Yeah, this artist impression there, bro.
No, I think on their Twitter they had. Let me this thing. Let me go to Twitter and show you. On their Twitter they had what's the name? They had actual pictures. So I want to see the specs of the bicycles. So the bicycle capacity is 35.2 megawatt hours. The charging time is 6 hours, and the torque is 200 Newton meters, and the power is 30 kilowatts.
What's the mileage?
They didn't put the mileage there. It one that cost 18,000 cedis. Aboboya is 8,000 cedis for reference. It's even 7,000 cedis.
Aboboya 8.
It's 7K. Wow. It's 7K now. It used to be 3K.
It cost.
But now I think Ghana and our overpricing Kanka.
I mean, you could see that, but I mean, like, anytime you have new tech, like, once it's fresh and new, it makes sense, like, the cost of production is quite high. But
are you calling Aboboya new tech? Silas?
No.
When I was watching
Aboboya is new tech.
When I was watching Hindi movies,
That's how
they were like 6 years ago, I saw Abu Yah in Hindi movies. What is new about that tech?
EV Awoboya is new tech.
Okay.
EV Awoboya is new tech.
Okay. Are you pulling that up?
Anyway, I always be arcade trend. Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the.
I saw a
the
tweet
actual
while
pictures
Obin
they
is
tweet.
on that. I saw a tweet there and was saying that you see when this whole promote black businesses was going on. I saw a tweet that was saying that Spotify pays a certain fee, which is the lowest, followed by Apple Music, and Tidal pays the most. You understand?
Tidal
But people
pays the highest.
don't, mess with Tidal because for some reason it's not popular. While black businesses pay. It sounds like propaganda, but then on 31st of July, artists started responding to their streams and their revenue on Spotify. And the Spotify CEO, I'm reading from Complex, he came to make some very distasteful comments. He was like, Spotify CEO says artists who release records every 3 to 4 years will struggle. Over the past several years, Spotify has faced plenty of criticism for the way it calculates royalty rates, as a growing number of artists have accused the streaming giant of underpay. CEO Daniel Ek addressed the controversy during a recent interview with Music Ali, suggesting many artists were satisfied with their streaming income. That the big artists have no incentive to say so publicly. It's quite interesting that while the overall pie is growing, the more and more people can partake in that pie, we tend to focus on a very limited set of artists who are not putting in the work. Do you agree?
Yes and no. No, because it doesn't change the percentage that they are paying. Whether they get more views or not. I mean, they should pay some because a lot of money from the users, and you realize that your platform isn't as your platform is as big as the users and as big as the publishers, and the publishers in this case are the people who upload their music onto it. So that means you should give them that respect by paying them what's due them. And for me, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But once again, playing the kids. So look at this. I mean, I think copyrighted music is a very delicate topic. Like, there's so many parties you have to satisfy when you're in terms of like music copyright. So
Okay.
if which music label do you have in Ghana?
Success Music.
Yeah. So record like Success Music. So Success Music, it's a music label that puts out music for the artists. So
Yeah.
I think Sakoya is on it, and you have Aquaboa also on it, and some other host of artists. Now, if this music label puts their music on Spotify, that already in it, them moving the music as in them being the record label itself would already reduce the revenue that would to the artist.
Anyway, I can't find the actual picture. Let's move.
Profit. Okay. So in terms of revenue, like for every stream or for anything that comes in, Spotify takes 60%, and then 70% of the money goes to
another Apple in disguise.
yeah, another Apple in disguise. Spotify takes 30% and 70% goes to the record label or the music label.
Yeah.
And then 70% is then trickled down to the artist. And then you also have things like copyright. So you also have to pay for copyright issues and all those kind of things. All these things like sort of like reduce the money, because the more hands that exchange cash, the more the more reduction in value we see. So I mean,
but how do you make of his argument that they are not putting out enough material to enjoy from their rates? Because on an issue of proportionality, people like Beyonce and Jay-Z, who could rack up millions or hundreds of millions, obviously would be okay, because I mean, with the scale at which they are getting, their fan base is patronizing their products, so to speak, they are okay with the rate, no matter how small. But people like Lil Pump and Co, who don't have numbers per se, they are complaining that their rates are small. Do you think this argument is coherent, or do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Like
The numbers argument.
Yeah, I agree because on paper, if you are not putting out more, you obviously don't usually expect more. Because if I'm eating 1 meal a day and someone is eating 3 times a day, you don't expect us to grow like as regular human beings should grow. Like if there's any benchmark for that. So in
But
terms of that, I think
is Spotify profitable? Because I heard that they are not making profit.
As of last year, I think they started making profit. As of last year, I don't know if
After even see the money they're giving Joe Rogan, yeah, they have profit. Why? And now they
yeah,
are buying podcasts left and right. They have profits.
After last year, yeah, but they were unprofitable for some time.
Yeah.
But after last year, they started making profits. But I feel like the music industry is a very, like, in terms of money distribution, because there's a lot of exchange of hands, and I feel like
exactly
that's
and
actually
people at the
problem.
top are the ones who get everything, these record labels and things, and then people at the down, they get a peanuts.
I don't know if it's the same for individual artists, where like if like
independent artists don't go through that because everything comes through them, but then they have to do the extra work. And if you don't have the capital to, like, let's say, self-promote, you don't have the links, you don't have all those things, you may suffer. That's why most of them run to record labels. But then independent artists, they make everything and they keep everything. So someone like,
because people like Beyonce, when you chip away at their earnings, you barely scratch the surface. You get it.
That's true. And the funny thing is that Spotify isn't their only source of income, because I feel like musicians, their main source of income aside music is when they organize shows.
Yeah.
Because that's when
another streaming services crash.
Yeah, another streaming service.
Me, I think it's the coronavirus that has made them bleed and they are complaining.
Oh, I mean, they've been complaining about it a long time. Like, it's not just, but I mean, given the way COVID has fought the economy of the world, that's definitely true. I mean, they'll definitely go hungry. But you don't get the same complaint for a platform like SoundCloud.
SoundCloud, did they pay the artists?
I think they do. I think they started. SoundCloud almost shut down like some years back.
Yeah, I thought it was for underground people, though.
Yeah, exactly. But you see, when you put your music out there, you don't expect like I don't know if right now people make money from it, but then you're basically putting your music out there to get attention.
Yeah.
So why is it that? Yeah, why is it that when you put it on Spotify, a platform that actually monetizes your content, why you have problems with it? I don't know if that makes sense.
The TikTok drama is continuing. An article today on The Verge, TikTok confirms it will sue the Trump administration. The company says the president's executive order deprived it of due process.
Trump has to fight it.
Charlie, the drama is not about ending. They're taking on the president of the United States.
Whatever happens.
No, their deadline is fast.
The funny thing about TikTok, the left and right all subtly agree that China, there we can't trust them well. So so it's not like they can go around and hide under one party. That's why the other party is very silent about it. But now see the Mexican wall. See how the Democrats were so much against it and talking about it. But why are the Democrats publicly talking about TikTok?
China is not a friend like that.
Yeah. I mean, they have a serious issue with the US, with antitrust rules and all that. So it definitely makes sense that both parties are supporting the same motive or have the same motive.
What's in the news? What else is in the news you guys have heard?
Let them check my notes. And basically, we've mainly exhausted everything. And also, I was on the phone with Ellie yesterday for about 3 hours.
Yeah, sorry, I was wondering why Ellie hasn't joined. I don't know.
He's been quite busy.
Okay.
Being Ellie. And for those who don't know Ellie, what I mean is a lot of research, learning new things. That's what I call being Ellie. So basically, what do you think about starting something in Ghana as compared to leaving the country and trying to make it there? Is it easier here or is it easier there? Taking into consideration your skin color and also to the inherent economic hardships of immigrants outside the country.
Can I start?
Let's limit it to the tech.
Okay,
industry.
No, that's really I don't know if you've
the
seen
other industries there, no.
I don't know if you've seen Adam's
Charlie, 187K in compensation.
Exactly.
Adam Kumoji, I saw the tweet, Charlie.
Yeah. Did you realize what he said about his retirement fund?
No, I didn't. I think I missed that.
Yeah. They give stock options. Oh.
Yeah. So his retirement fund, I mean, in Ghana, we call it retirement fund. In the US is 401k.
Yeah.
So his 401k for the
Ghana is net.
Yeah, it's net.
Yeah.
So his net fund is, I think he said.
Your man say retirement fund. You figure Ghana will be the beast.
Pension fund. Net pension fund. That's the name.
I'm sorry. So his net fund over 30 years working in Ghana is around 20k.
13 years.
It's like
20k Ghana city.
20k Ghana city, yes. Right. And you mentioned I don't think I quite caught that, but
the 6
months. Yeah, the 6 months he spent.
Charlie, pull it up. Pull up.
No, it's a lot. It was like a curious cut.
It's actually more than. Yeah. It's actually more than the 13k he has amassed within his 13 years of Ghana, and that's comparing 13 years working in Ghana and 6 months working in the US. Like your retirement fund already is like. I'm still saying retirement fund.
Ghana, we don't reward talent.
So my thing is, whatever happens, he's building Bill Gates' company, and it wouldn't go well for the African ecosystem if someone like this continues to live outside the country. So in short term, it makes a lot of financial sense, but in long term, should that be the solution?
Are you speaking from a pan-African angle?
I'm being objective here. I'm trying as much as possible.
No, because objective is being able to put food on your table. And if going abroad means being able to put food on your table, that's fine.
But then people like Bill Gates, when they started, they didn't start because they want to put food on their table. They started because they want to change the world. But then again, Bill Gates wasn't in the position of either deciding whether to put food on his table or whether to change the world. You understand? But then, so you understand the fact that people want to leave the country to search for better opportunities. But then again, after you've done that, is it okay to come back and build something for your continent, or you want to just stay there, retire there, and rest there?
Yeah. But I feel like in this example, like Adam is already building. I think in terms of in the Ghanaian.
Let's not use Adam as yeah. So in general.
Okay, so in general, I feel like it's generally very difficult to be a startup in Ghana as compared to the US. An example is if you pull up the stats for how much money is invested in US startups as compared to other parts of the world, especially Africa, you realize that what we get in a year, like the entire continent, what we get in a year is what one startup gets in the US.
Yeah.
One startup. So I feel like in terms of privilege, we don't have that privilege to actually build or scale our startups to like a global, to have that like sort of global effect as compared to companies like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, and even companies like Stripe and Tesla and all that. You realize that even though like they have very humble beginnings due to the environment, or should I say the privilege they have, they're able to have like this widespread
Tesla
phenomenon
almost
across
went
the world.
under until they got a government bailout of $1 billion. Ghana
from the US
die a
government.
natural death. Ghana here. You die.
Natural death.
Mm.
The politicians will strangle you.
Artificial. Die. You'll be there and they'll come and demolish your structure.
I mean, it's very difficult, but I think I get hope when I see companies like Paystack, when I see companies like Andela, when I see.
But then my
like
problem is that why are they
Waterway.
all software engineering companies? There's more that can be done in other industries, even with tech.
You and I were talking to Nicholas Talley about the cost of hardware innovation.
Not necessarily hardware. We can have the service industry, we can have the food industry, we can have hospitality industry.
That's still software
I think
based.
the hospitality
Not necessarily
industry in
software
Ghana is
based.
pretty solid.
But then we don't export.
Like tech innovations in that space.
Exactly. And
is that what you mean?
yeah, tech innovations in that space. And you realize that because most of the companies you hear are either fintech or either finance or HR. Those are the two main ones that are actually getting a lot of what's the name? Noise. I'm making a lot of noise. But then something like
I saw a particularly interesting article on Bloomberg that said most of the third world countries are running out of time to become wealthy because by 2050 or so, countries that are run on immigrants like Canada and US would poach most of the credible talent, which is what we are seeing, to their end. And places like China, which are experiencing aging populations, would see a shrink in their viable workforce. But third world countries like us, which at that time would actually have the most active, since we are the youngest, would have a deficit of some sort, since the best and the brightest will move to fill big positions in these countries that are run on immigrants.
You know, so, China.
Challenge me, I no go slack, bro. I go left.
Yeah, I mean, because if you have a startup and then for 5-6 years you haven't made like any huge impact, or like you're not making bread, or like you're struggling for 6-7 years, you definitely
see what they did to go Kada see you.
That one.
Young boy come to Africa to help us. You kill the guy.
Hey, Charlie. I mean, Africa is a deadly ground. Like surviving in this place is definitely hard.
So what do you think about my initial question? But back to the question.
I don't blame anybody for leaving because honestly, it's the devil and the deep blue sea. The devil and the deep blue sea. Master.
Yeah, you see, 13 years working here, and your pension fund, you've got more within 6 months of working outside.
Even minimum wage, Silas, minimum wage.
Wait, minimum wage in Ghana, I think it's
don't even
it's not 12 cities.
Like $2.
12 cities.
$2.
12 cities.
Yeah. And places like UK, Canada, it's $10.
No, but then if you look at the spending,
that's even on skilled.
No, if you look at the
economy
and the spending, you realize that it's relatively the same, because the amount of
the differences.
No, but for expatriates,
no, but we are still underpaid.
We are still underpaid, but then when it comes to spending, like for example, someone was saying that he spends $35 in the supermarket, and that's like the cheapest per week. $35 is almost 200 Ghana. That's how much.
You can't go to the Ghana market and spend 200 cedis and be okay with it.
Exactly, it's expensive. But then, I'm talking for an individual.
But what society are you in? You get
in Ghana,
Subway.
In Ghana,
get good services.
No, in Ghana, the relative amount of $35 is like about 70 to 90 cedis. If you spend about 70 to 90 cedis,
the equivalent.
Week, so you realize that it makes sense. If you do the direct conversion, you really get it. But then if you look at your economic situation, situation, you realize that
but
the value
from the angle of remittances, from the angle of remittances made by those immigrants who go and work there, it's better value for their efforts.
It's
they
better.
Go work
No,
there,
it's better
they
to work
remit.
there and spend the money here. It's different from
That's what
working
I'm saying,
there
and that's the
spending
biggest
money
draw,
there.
isn't it?
If we work there and spend the money there, it's not that much. They suffer. Rent is like $2,000. Ghana can pay rent every month 10,000 cedis.
Yeah.
And $2,000 is like some average house, apartment, every house. Apartment, you get it. So,
probably shared crowd.
Exactly. So if you work there and spend it here, it's very high. But then if you work there and spend it there, that's when you realize that the value is actually relatively the same. Because education is expensive, healthcare is expensive. Literally, because people actually go bankrupt and they become homeless just because they got sick for 6 months.
Yeah, I think that problem is only typical in the US. I think in Europe they do very well in terms of
the NHS works very well.
Yeah, the NHS works well. But in America, like I think it's most things I've experienced with like my friends who are like you just make sure like you don't get sick. Because if you get sick, yawa.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So if you exhausted more than 1 hour, and we are done. We are done with this episode. And I thank you all for listening to us. Listen to the self-taught novice episode.
Oh, Charlie,
3 of this season.
Okay. Oh.
Yes, Maxwell. I'm done. I'm done. You talk again.
Did you listen to Princess Aloti's conference?
Yeah, I was there. I even texted her that Charlie.
Nice you.
You didn't listen to it.
Oh, I
the girl is a statistic genius, man. That's all I can see, bro. Yeah, born.
Silas doesn't know Princess.
Yeah, he knows Princess.
I know Princess.
Yeah,
but I mean, like I don't know what she has done.
She had a presentation today, and she was like, she invited us.
Oh, she really killed it, didn't she?
Oh yeah. I mean, the slides and everything was on point, man. Anyway. All right, guys. So if you have any suggestions concerning our episodes, just hit us up on our social media platforms. And any last words from Maxwell or Bosom?
That's what you're calling me now.
Yeah, only 2 here. And I mentioned Maxwell's name.
Yeah. So same time next week.
Yeah.
Not a drill. If you have any questions, comment on whatever platform you are listening, hit our DMs on social media, and we'll be happy to respond to it. So that's it for us.
Who's DM? Your DM or our DMs?
Yeah.
No, Data Media DM. So, of course, if you want to jump in my DM, I welcome the idea.
Will you want to put your handle out there?
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
It's called Max or Danka.
Doesn't get any more complex like yours.
I remember, I think one day we'll tell the story of Geek Silas one day. It was in a hostel room on the bed. Anyway.
Hey, wait, why are you bringing the bed back?
But I was literally on the bed we came up. No, not like on the bed. Like
relax. Before you close out the episode, who gave him the name?
We came up with it together.
Who gave him the name?
We said we're doing rebranding for Silas. Then it was wow. Anyway,
I see.
All right, guys, it's nothing sexual though. It's just in the hostel room, and the hostel, the only furniture you have is a bed. The only communal, the only communal furniture you have is a bed in the hostel room. So communal. Yes, let me emphasize because there were other people who were present there. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening.
By saddens me that you think people would think it's in a sexual way. I mean
how you said it. No, how you said it. No, I just wanted to be clear, and it's 2020.
No.
People.
Yeah, it's 2020. People think in different directions.
Right.
So we just want to.
So much I will come for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So it's bye from us. Bye bye.